All right, chapter 11, circumference, area, and volume. So chapter 11 is actually what most people think about when they think about geometry, a lot of area, perimeter, different shapes. So that is what this chapter is going to be about. It's one of my favorite chapters. I say that all the time, but it's true. So the first one is circumference, something that we might be familiar with from a middle school geometry class, but the circumference is the distance around the outside of a circle. And for this, we use diameter, which we just talked about in last chapters, across the circle, and radius, which is half the diameter. So the two formulas for that are either the diameter times pi or the circumference equals 2 pi r, which is the radius. So you can use the pi button on your calculator, or you can use 3.14. Either will be fine. So pi is a naturally occurring number. If you take a circumference and you divide it by the diameter, all circles are going to give you pi. So arc length. This is a little different. Last chapter we talked about arc measure, and that was all about the angle. Arc length is about the actual distance. So for arc length, it is a portion of the circumference of a given arc. So it's a portion of the circumference of a given arc. And we use a ratio to find it. So the ratio we use is, so here, the length of AB, so this is AB, over 2 pi r, that's the diameter, is equal to the measure of arc AB, so that's the angle measure, over 360. So if you wanted to just find the arc, find the length, you would find the length of AB would be the measure, the angle measure, over 360 times 2 pi r. So that's the formula you're going to use. So here I have the angle measure, I have the radius, I want to find the arc length AB. So that's the difference. Without the little m in front, I want to find the length. So that would be the measure of the angle over 360 times 2 pi r. The measure of the angle is 60, the radius is 8. So this is going to give me 60 over 360. That's a 6 if you can't tell. 60 over 360 times 2 pi times 8. You put that whole thing in your calculator. This is why the pi button can be useful. You're going to get approximately, I'm rounding, 8.38. And remember, this has units, so it's 8.38 centimeters. That's how long that arc is. Now this one, I want to find the circumference. So this one, I'm going to use that ratio. So the arc measure of xy is 40. The radius is 4.19. So that ratio was, oh no, sorry, that's not the radius. That's the length. That's the length of xy. So remember, it's like the length of xy over 2 pi r, which is the circumference. So this is what we're looking for, equals 40 over 360. So this is what we're looking for. So 4.19 over the circumference is 40 over 360. We cross multiply. We're going to get 40c equals, that would have been a good time to have my calculator on me, 360 times 4.19 is 1508.4. Divide by 40, and you get the circumference is 37.71. But again, it's a length, so we want units, and it's in, not centimeters, it's in inches. And one more. So this was to find the arc length, this was to find the circumference, this one is to find the angle measure of RS. So this is what I'm looking for. So it's the length of RS over the circumference equals the angle measure, which is what I'm looking for, over 360. So here, the radius is 15.28, and the arc measure is 44. So I have 44 over 2 pi times 15.28 equals the angle measure that I'm looking for over 360. If I cross multiply, you're going to get x times, if you put this whole thing into your calculator, which is why the pi button is useful. The pi button is right here. So if you click the second in the up arrow, that's where the pi is. So 2 pi times 15.28 gives us 96.007. So we usually round to 1 or 2 decimals, so 96.01 equals 44 times 360 is 15,840. Divide both sides by 96.01, and you're going to get 164.98. So think back to what this question was. It was asking for the degree. It was asking for the angle measure. All right? And so in part 2, we're going to do a couple applications of this.